Hey everybody, today what we're going to be doing is graphing with slope-intercept form. So a quick reminder, what is slope-intercept form? Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Anytime you see this form, I want you to realize that it is graphing a straight line. M represents our slope, which we learned is rise over run, which we've also seen as rate of change, so on and so forth. Your b is always called your constant, and it's basically our y-intercept. And in word problems, it's kind of like our start value or our initial value that we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to be given a bunch of equations, and they're not in slope-intercept form. They look all weird and different, and what we need to do is convert them into y equals mx plus b, which means we need to get the y all by itself. There's no parentheses, no nothing. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this negative 1/4 to the x and to the 8. This will give me y plus 1 is equal to negative 1/4 times x. And then I'm going to multiply a negative times a negative, which turns into a positive 1/4 times 8. So now I need to simplify the right side. So I'm going to have y plus 1 is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 1 times 8 is 8, because I'm multiplying fractions. We just multiply straight across. 4 times 1 is 4, and that'll reduce to 2. So I have y plus 1 is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 2. Now I need to get the y all by itself, so I'm going to minus I'm going to minus 1 on both sides of the equal sign to get y is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 1. And now you can see this is in my y equals mx plus b. Now remember, the slope is the coefficient of x. It's the number in front of x, and it's negative 1/4. I go down 1/4, down 1/4. And my start value, my y-intercept, is 1. If you guys like to know what the point is, it would be your 0, 1. Remember, this is your x, this is your y. That's why it's 0, 1. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and do one more of these examples before we try to graph them. Now, sometimes they look really crazy like this. And remember, in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, there is no fractions for y. Y is all by itself. X can have a fraction, a coefficient of, that's a fraction, but y definitely can't. So what I need to do is I need to get rid of this 2 on the denominator. So what I'm going to do is, before I even do that, I'm going to minus 3 x over 4 on both sides. This will give me y over 2 is equal to a negative 3 over 4x plus 6. Just a little showing you what I'm doing. See how the fraction bar is over the x, and over here it's on the side? These things are equivalent, and it's always easier for me to see my m value when x is not on the numerator, just kind of to the side where it looks like this. So what I need to do now is I need to get rid of this divided by 2, because I'm trying to get the y all by itself. And to do that, I multiply my numerators all by 2. And 2 divided by 2 cancel, so I'm left with just y is equal to negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 over 4 plus 12. My last step is I see if I can reduce anything, and I can reduce this negative 6 over 4. This will reduce to y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 12. So now I can identify what my y-intercept is, which is 12. And my negative 3 over 2 is my slope, which will be going down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. Now that I feel comfortable finding what my slope is and what my b value is, I can go ahead now and I can rewrite these equations in slope-intercept form, and I can graph it. So that's what we're going to do here. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I am going to want to get y all by itself. There's 2 ways to do this, and what students tend to do is they tend to go a little longer way by distributing the 3. So I'm going to do that method because that's what students tend to do first. So I'm going to get 3y minus 12 is equal to negative x. I'm then going to add 12 on both sides. This will give me 3y is equal to negative x plus 12. My last step, remember, to get y all by itself is I'm going to divide each term by 3. And this will give me y is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 4. Now we're going to start with our y-intercept, which is 4. And I found my slope, which is the coefficient of x, which is negative 1/3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my y-intercept. Remember, this is the y-axis. So I go to my b value, which is plus 4. And I'm just going to plot a point right here at positive 4. To find my next point, I'm going to go down 1 over 3. 1, 2, 3. Here's a point. Down 1 over 3. 1, 2, 3. Down 1 over 3. 1, 2, 3. Down 1 over 10, 11, 12. So we're actually running out of room there. And I'm going to go ahead now and connect my dots. And my equation will look like this. And it'll go all the way up here. And if people were curious on how I would get points on the right side, or excuse me, on the left side, instead of going down 1 to the right 3, you can go up 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3, up 1 over 1, 2, 3. And that's how we would get the points going to the left. And on my x-intercept, if you saw if I kept going down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, that's why I counted. I went down 1 over to 10, 11, 12. So my x-intercept would be 12. All right, so let's go ahead now and look at the next example. Same idea. I want to get y all by itself. So I would start by distributing this negative 2. So it would give me 3y minus 2 is equal to negative 2x minus 2. I would then add 2 to both sides to get 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 0. You don't need that plus 0, but I want you to see, be able to be familiar on the y-intercept. So now when I divide both sides by 3, I would have y equals negative 2/3 x plus 0. I'm going to write that plus 0 in red because we don't need it, but it'll help us identifying our y-intercept, our b value. So our slope would be negative 2 over 3. My y-intercept would be 0. And after I graph it, let's see if I can figure out what my x-intercept is. So I go to my y-intercept, which is 0. And anytime it's invisible or you have a plus 0, it's just at the origin. And then from here, we're going to go down 2, 1, 2, and to the right, 3. 1, 2, 3, down 2 over 1, 2, 3. Put another point. Now, instead of going down 2 over 3, you can also go up 2 to the left, 1, 2, 3. And that's how you'd get points on the left side. And then all I would do is I would connect the dots with a straight line. Let me line that up a little better. Looking like this. And I would go up here. And if you want to see your x-intercept, it's where does the green line cross the x-intercept? That is also at the origin, so it would be 0. All right, let's go and look at one more here. Looking at this one, same idea. We need this in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to subtract 1/2 x. And when I subtract 1/2 x, I'm going to have negative 2 over 3y is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 6. Now, before I even deal with the fraction, I want to deal with the negative. I don't like solving these when I have a negative, so I'm just going to divide each and every term by negative 1. When I divide each and every term by negative 1, it turns all those negative values into positive values. So that would look something like positive 2/3 y is equal to 1/2 x plus 6. Now that my y is positive, I can go ahead and take care of that 2/3 y. Now to get rid of a fraction, what we're going to do is multiply each side by the reciprocal. So 3 over 2 on all these. And these are going to cancel. I'm going to be left with y equals 3 times 1 is 3, 2 times 2 is 4. So I have 3/4 x. And then over here, 3 times 6 is 18. And 18 over 2 reduces to 9, so I'm going to have a plus 9, which means my slope is positive 3 over 4, and my y-intercept is positive 9, and I'm not quite sure what my x values are, so let's go ahead and graph that. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up my y-intercept, which is right here at +9. That's your b value. It's always on the y-axis going up and down. And now if you notice, if I go up 3 over 4, I'm kind of getting lost over here, and I don't want to be able to plug points here. So I can also go down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the reason why I can go down and to the left is because I'm going down -3, and to the left -4, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So the slopes are actually equivalent. So I can continue this process of going down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, and this would be 11 and 12. So my y-intercept would be 12, and I'm counting that going here. And I made a quick mistake here. +12's over here. This way over here is -12. So I'm just going to go ahead now and connect my lines, and it would look something like that. Alright, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If not, have a great night.